Right when I was going crazy writing my thesis, I received a scam call. "Hello, Mr. Buy your card." The voice was deep and pleasant to hear, but I still interrupted them. Following a script online, I played a recording for the other side to hear an ear-piercing car crash. The acting wasn't enough, so I even screamed until my voice went hoarse, making the other end go dead silent. Very nice, he should thank me for helping his monotonous scamming life gain a unique, one-of-a-kind sense of guilt. A few minutes later, my roommate Liu Sheng rushed in breathlessly and said, "What's the relationship between you and our department beauty? She's looking for you like crazy. She keeps demanding to know if anything happened to you." A few days ago, I watched a funny video online. The main idea was that when a scam call comes in, you should play a recording of a car crash for the other side to hear. The title was, "How to Make the Other Party Feel Guilty for Life." So today I applied it right when they called. The voice was indeed very nice, but as soon as they opened their mouth, they called me Mr. Buy, and even mentioned a bank card, definitely a scammer. I leisurely turned on the recording and pretended to be in an actual accident. As expected, the other party went silent immediately. The moment the call disconnected, I think I even heard a trembling gasp. Props to a scammer with a conscience. At least he knows how to feel remorse. I thought that was the end of it. Who would have thought a few minutes later, Liu Sheng would push the door open and rush in, asking frantically, "I heard you got into a car accident. Are you okay?" When did I get into an accident? Wasn't that just to trick that scammer? I was completely dazed and confused. No, I didn't. Liu Sheng slumped into his chair panting. He took a sip of water. "Man, you scared the life out of me. But are you and Anyuki really close? She's looking for you like crazy." "Anyuki," I recalled slightly. "Isn't she the sophomore department beauty? How could I possibly know her?" Liu Sheng widened his eyes, retelling it vividly. "You really don't know her. You have no idea. She asked almost everyone who knows you. But the problem was, you didn't pick up your phone. To avoid getting those spam calls, I had set my phone to Do Not Disturb for all unknown numbers. Then I unlocked my phone to check, and sure enough, it was full of missed calls and quite a few text messages, all asking if I was okay. When she ran over to find me, her eyes were completely red. She looked like she had literally lost her soul, which scared me so much that I had to rush back immediately to see if you were still alive or dead." As he spoke, he dragged me downstairs. "Let's go. Go, the girl is still waiting out there. Since you aren't dead, go out there and let her know." I was dragged downstairs completely bewildered. The freezing northern winter made me shiver. As soon as I looked up, I saw Anruoxi wearing only a thin sweater, with just a cardigan thrown over it. Her feet slipped into indoor plush slippers, standing all alone in the middle of the snowy weather. Liu Sheng gave me a push and vanished into thin air. Immediately, I stood opposite her completely at a loss for what to do. I didn't know how long she had been standing there, or why she hadn't found a place to take temporary shelter. Snow accumulated on her hair and shoulders. Her eyes red, though it was unclear whether from the cold or from crying. For a moment, neither of us said a word, leaving only the sound of falling snow. "Are you okay?" I looked up and heard her ask, her voice exactly the same as the scam call earlier, only a bit more hoarse. If before coming here, I was only guessing, now I was absolutely sure about one thing: I'm completely cooked. I actually mistook Roxy's call for a scam call. Life really hits you with the unexpected. An hour ago, I was planning to make someone else feel guilty, but at this very moment, it was my turn to feel endless guilt. I regretted it so much my face turned pale, hurriedly bowing my head to sincerely apologize. "I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I thought it was a scam call, I was just playing a joke." Her deep gaze kept staring intently at me, seemingly letting out a final sigh of relief. Then she took a card out of her pocket. "I picked up yours. I called you today just to return the card." Damn it, so it was all because of this. When I reached out both hands to take the card, and Roxy's fingertips, completely red from the cold, brushed against my warm skin. The chill made me shiver. Instantly, I felt even more overwhelmed by guilt. I truly deserved to be cancelled. Seriously, a kind underclassman finds lost property and isn't greedy. Yet, I went and pranked her like that. While I was all bundled up in the dorm enjoying the heat from the radiator, she was having a whole mental breakdown alone in the snow. Taking the card, I repeatedly thanked her, interspersed with weak, pathetic apologies. And Roxy stared at me for a very long time. Inside those deep black eyes were emotions that I couldn't quite grasp. Only after a long while did she speak. "Bai Muye, don't prank other people like that in the future. Someone will really worry about you." I hurriedly agreed. As she turned around to leave, my hands moved faster than my brain and I took off my puffer jacket to drape it directly over her. The icy wind immediately whipped against my chest, making me feel like an absolute scumbag. It's freezing like this. Yet she was pushed to this state by my prank. And Roxy looked down at the puffer jacket on her, a bit surprised. With her height of just over 160 centimeters, when she wore my long, dark-colored puffer jacket, her whole body seemed halfway swallowed up by it, making her look even more tiny and frail. "My dorm is right here, but the girls' dorm is far away. Just wear it for now so you don't catch a cold." The dampness and gloom in her eyes dissipated quite a lot. When I put the jacket on her, she looked like a stray puppy that had retracted its claws, obedient yet slightly flustered. She nodded, repeatedly confirming I was fine before finally turning around to leave. It wasn't until her slender figure completely vanished from my sight that it suddenly hit me. Well, I'm completely screwed. Just now, she handed me my student ID card, and I habitually stuffed it right back into my puffer jacket pocket. But that exact jacket was now being worn away by her. Inside that pocket, there wasn't just my student ID, but also my lab access keycard, and even a few random notes that I had carelessly shoved in there. Honestly, I'd rather have actually been hit by a car today. In this entire world, surely no one could have encountered a more embarrassing situation than me, right? After returning to the dorm, I restlessly scrolled through my feeds to repent, notifying all my friends that I didn't get into a car accident at all, and that I had just taken a joke way too far, promising I'd never dare do it again. Then I started deliberating on how to contact Roxy to ask for those things back. Clutching my phone, I scratched my head trying to figure out how to start the conversation. Liu Sheng suddenly leaned in close, giving me a huge fright. Alright, spill it right now. What's the deal between you and Roxy? Helplessly, I opened my hands and clearly recounted everything that had just happened, from beginning to end, hoping he would believe that we really had nothing going on, and that this was just a massive misunderstanding. Who knew that after hearing this, Liu Sheng's eyes would light up. He couldn't even close his mouth from laughing, looking exactly like a prairie dog aggressively shipping a CP. So she called you Bai Muye and even called you Oppa too. That's practically an open field of green flags right there. She even told you not to play around recklessly, because someone would get worried, huh? So who exactly is that someone? I was completely speechless, not wanting to explain any further, only thinking about my poor student ID card. How on earth was I going to ask for it back? After all, the jacket could be returned anytime. But tomorrow, I had to go to the lab to sign in. In the end, I still didn't have enough courage to call on Roxy, so I just accepted that tomorrow I'd go to the lab and take a scolding. As it turned out, the next day when I arrived at the lab, she was wearing laboratory protective gear, wearing safety goggles, and sitting neatly in front of the lab bench. Seeing me walk in, she took off her safety goggles, revealing her gorgeous black eyes staring straight at me. At that moment, I thought I had walked into the wrong place. Only after double-checking multiple times did I realize this was indeed our laboratory. The only thing was, why was she dressed like this and sitting in my spot? While I was still debating whether I should sneak over and sit next to Liu Sheng, our advisor walked in, and Roxy suddenly spoke up. Where are you planning to sit? Her expression seemed to say, just sit wherever you want. But she nudged her body inside a little bit to free up the seat next to her. And just like that, completely innocent, looked at me with her big blinking eyes. Liu Sheng, who was right behind me, had already started losing his mind, repeatedly poking me in the back, his face mask unable to hide his goofy grinning expression. To be completely honest, I'm actually quite introverted, but I still stepped forward and sat down next to Anne. Roxy, there was just no other choice. She's honestly just way too beautiful. She just sat there, doing absolutely nothing, only using that intense gaze to look at you, making it extremely hard to turn her down. Not long after I sat down, the advisor started making rounds to check on the preparations and assign tasks. Only now did I find out why she had come. It turns out she's not just a pretty face, but also an absolute academic weapon. Even as a sophomore, she already wanted to join the research group to work on projects. Therefore, this also meant that from this semester until next year, I would have to share the same laboratory with her. The entire morning, whatever the professor said went completely in one ear and out the other. Beauty is truly a dangerous distraction. It totally caught me off guard. After the advisor left, I suddenly realized something was wrong. My lab access keycard was still in my jacket, so how did she get in? I haven't swiped my card today. When I hurriedly asked her to get my keycard back, and Roxy reached into her pocket and took out a very exquisite small pouch to hand to me. The jacket went to the laundry. Here are all your belongings. I quickly thanked her, running flusteredly over to swipe my card. Email card. As it turned out, I found out I had already swiped in. Wasn't the card just with her? Could it be that she helped me? When I turned around intending to ask her, I suddenly bumped into a warm embrace, and Roxy's warm breath brushed against my shoulder. She softly whispered a sentence, her voice deep yet slightly hoarse, like the low notes of a cello gently stroking my eardrums. For a moment, I panicked a little, hurriedly pushing away to create some distance, asking her if she had helped me swipe my card. And Roxy had already taken off her protective gear at some point. Underneath was a white knit sweater, neatly tailored, paired with an elegant long skirt, making her entire body look even more slender. Leaning in this close, I finally got the chance to look closely at her facial features. Her eyes were the deep and well-rounded type, but the corners slightly upturned, cold yet sharp. This type of visual, when not smiling, gives off a very distant vibe. But once she smiles at you, it's exceptionally innocent and pure. For example, right now, she smiled while answering my question. Of course, I didn't want to see you arrive late, so I came early. I honestly didn't know how things had escalated into this state. And Roxy and I were sitting opposite each other at the dining table with Liu Sheng on the side enthusiastically hosting. Come, come, come. Thank you for picking up Brother Ye's card yesterday. He kept praising you nonstop back in the dorm. And yesterday, he said he absolutely must treat you to a meal. Didn't we just happen to cross paths today? My hand holding the chopsticks froze midair. I truly wanted to strangle him. And Roxy seemed to be highly intrigued. She slowly ate a bit before asking, "Is that so?" I replied. "That's right." When she went to fetch some tissues, my buddy next to me immediately showed me a photo from this morning. I was sitting there flipping through a book while Aunt Roxy looked down at me, a smile playing on the corners of her lips. I asked him what he meant, and Liu Sheng began spinning wild theories, describing a scene that I hadn't noticed myself. The moment I sat down next to her, the corners of her mouth slightly curved up in a barely noticeable way. Her eyes lit up completely, and afraid I'd find out, she turned her head away to steal a smile. According to our analysis, there's an 80% chance she likes me, but that makes no sense. I'm completely average, single since birth, still older than her, and didn't even know Aunt Roxy before this. How could she possibly like me after she came back? Liu Sheng suddenly opened his mouth. "Do you have a boyfriend?" And Roxy froze for a second, but her eyes looked directly at me. "I don't. What about you guys?" Her mouth said, "You guys," but my intuition told me she was actually asking me. I honestly replied that I didn't. Liu Sheng chimed in, "He's been single since birth." And just like that, and Roxy smiled again. Though it wasn't obvious the moment she lowered her head to eat her food. I saw the curve on the corners of her lips, and even a pair of shallow dimples. Something about this atmosphere was definitely off. No matter how much I begged him, Liu Sheng refused to stay and made an excuse to sneak away first. Before that, he had typed something on his phone and showed it to her. After reading it, Aunt Roxy nodded, as if she was plotting something, seemingly still assessing its feasibility. I curiously asked what Liu Sheng had written, and Roxy raised an eyebrow, suddenly showing a bit of a mischievous side, as if her previous obedience in front of me was just a facade. An expression like this was her naturally proud self. "Do you really want to hear it?" My intuition told me it wasn't anything good. I waved my hand and said, "Never mind then." She cryptically left me with one line, "You'll get to hear it in the future." I found it a bit baffling, fearing the atmosphere would grow awkward. I decided to go along with the previous topic. "Do you have someone you like?" And Roxy put down her chopsticks and replied extremely seriously, "I do." Turns out she already has someone she likes. So it was just me being narcissistic, but it makes sense. A girl this beautiful definitely has plenty of pursuers. How could it ever be my turn? Just as I was about to change the subject, and Roxy suddenly asked, "Aren't you going to ask who that person is?" In my mind, I silently sighed. I don't even know them, so why bother asking? Seeing her blank stare, she seemed to find it amusing. "What about you? Do you have someone you like?" I seriously thought about it for a long while. After confirming that there wasn't anyone I liked, I spoke the truth. "There's really no one." And Roxy lowered her head, poking at the bowl of rice in her hands. "That person is probably working hard to make you like them." I didn't hear her clearly, so I asked her what she was saying. She raised her head. "It's nothing. Let's head back." I followed behind her as we walked out. When it was time to pay, I finally realized that when she went to get tissues earlier, she had already settled the bill. She was a bit shorter than me. I looked down and asked her why she rushed to pay, and Roxy thought for a moment. "Just consider it a debt for now. You can treat me next time." There's a next time. Today was already awkward enough. Why, looking at her expression, does she seem to be quite looking forward to next time? She seemed to recall something and asked, "Today Professor Song told us to research vocal cords. Have we thought about who to choose yet?" Oh, right. If she hadn't mentioned it, I would have completely forgotten. The professor indeed brought it up. I shook my head, and Roxy's lips pursed as she fell silent for a moment. Seeming a bit unhappy, I was slightly puzzled. Why did her mood suddenly drop? Afterwards, on the way, she walked me back to my dorm. I intentionally avoided any romantic topics, fulfilling my responsibility by explaining the laboratory rules and the project details to her. Research. Unexpectedly, this girl is actually really smart, knowing a ton of foundational knowledge. Way better than I was back then. The more we talked, the more I realized she's an absolute academic weapon. When we arrived downstairs at the dorm, I couldn't help but turn around and praise her. "You are really amazing." Right as the words left my mouth, a strong force pulled me into her embrace. The faint, gentle fragrance on her body wafted into my nose as a car zoomed right past us. We stared at each other for a long while. I avoided her gaze, and just as I was about to break free from her arms, she tightened her grip. "So why don't you choose me instead?" Oppa. Holy crap, why did she just call me Oppa? How is anyone supposed to survive this? If someone else had said that, it might have been a bit cringe, but she is just too beautiful. That serious expression of hers, combined with those words, was unexpectedly a perfect match, giving off some insane gap moe. Under her intense gaze, I could feel my face completely burning up. I could only nod instantly, not even daring to look into her eyes. Finally blurting out, "I'll choose, I'll choose, I'll choose." Then I ran away for dear life. Once I got back to the dorm, my breathing finally returned to normal, but my heart was still beating out of my chest. Seeing me like this, Liu Sheng instantly hyped up, asking me how the battlefield went. Still shaken, I recounted the entire situation to him. When Liu Sheng heard that she called me Oppa, his eyes went wide and he started clapping like crazy. She actually called you that. This girl really fell for it. I had a bad premonition, suddenly remembering the text message he showed her at the dining table today, the one he wouldn't let me see at the time. Sure enough, this absolute troll had written, "My bro loves being called Oppa the most. Good luck, underclassmen." This is literally killing me. Just like that, the pure image I maintained for over 20 years completely went down the drain. Gone, reduced to atoms. Completely gone in front of Anroxy. For the next few days, Anroxy didn't actively reach out to me. It just so happened to be the weekend, so no lab work was needed. Right when my mind was finally starting to calm down, she suddenly sent a green bubble text message, "Senior, I'll return your puffer jacket tomorrow." Why isn't she calling me Appa anymore tomorrow? I thought about it for a bit. Tomorrow I have to go watch the senior girls aerobics performance, so tomorrow won't work. I have to go watch the senior girls aerobics performance. The other side showed typing a message. I waited for a long time, and she only replied with a single word, "Okay." I found it a bit strange, but I didn't think too much of it. As it turned out, when I arrived at the gymnasium, I was completely stunned. On the indoor court, Roxy was wearing a highly striking and vibrant workout outfit, becoming the absolute center of attention of the whole venue. The moment I arrived, it was like she had eyes in the back of her head. She turned around and caught my gaze instantly, even slightly raising an eyebrow. That accidentally mischievous vibe appeared again. Holy crap. Why do I feel like she's completely rippling me right now? I told myself I was here to watch the senior girls dance aerobics, but my gaze throughout the entire session could not leave her side. She was honestly just way too radiant. I tightly clutched my chest. This thing inside didn't seem to listen to me anymore. My heart was beating wildly. After one routine ended, everyone else from the laboratory went over to hand water bottles to the senior girls. I also snapped out of it intending to walk over, but ended up being blocked by someone. And Roxy casually wiped her face, her eyes bright and sparkling, her breathing a bit rapid, as she pointed at the water bottle in my hand. "Is that for me?" It was originally meant for the senior girl. But before I could even explain, she reached out her hand and smiled at me. "Thank you." Well, sorry to that senior girl. I've been completely blinded by beauty. The water was obviously handed over to the underclassmen. Then, while Roxy went back onto the court to continue dancing aerobics, a senior girl walked over and pointed at her. That underclassman in our laboratory. She suddenly sent me a message yesterday, saying she wanted to dance aerobics with us. What is this now? I really can't blame myself for overthinking. Could she have really come here, all because of me? But she already said she has someone she likes. My mind was a tangled mess of thoughts, one moment denying it to myself, the next moment unable to help but think in that direction. "Hey, do you have any water left? I just finished changing out of my outfit, but the water is already all gone." I looked at the half-empty water bottle in my hand, for a moment, not knowing how to speak up. I glanced toward the practice court, and Roxy happened to be up there, and she caught sight of the senior girl's outstretched hand. Her gaze instantly darkened, then quickly recovered to its natural look. Her dance moves, all of a sudden, became way more aggressive. "Junior, what are you looking at? Don't tell me you also like Roxy." I almost choked on my own spit. I asked her what she meant by also. The senior girl said resentfully, "Need I say more? Our major already has so few guys. We plan to show our faces on stage, in hopes of making some sort of impression. But look at the result. Everyone is staring intently at that girl. So Junior, you also came to watch her dance, right?" I looked at the senior girl's reproachful eyes, feeling as if I had completely betrayed the organization. As heaven is my witness, I really did come to watch the senior girls dance aerobics, but the end result was that somehow everyone ended up looking at her. Before I could even explain myself, and Roxy at some unknown point was already standing right in front of us. Then she pointed at the half bottle of water in my hand, tilting her head to look at me innocently. And so under the shocked gaze of the senior girl, I handed over that half bottle of water, fully confirming that I was indeed a traitor. And Roxy took the water bottle, looking like a child who had just received praise. She chugged the remaining half without leaving a single drop, as if she was afraid someone would snatch it from her. Her smug gaze, whether intentionally or unintentionally, glanced over toward the senior girl. I couldn't watch this any longer, so I planned to take her and quickly leave. As it turned out, Roxy suddenly said, "Senior, your jacket is still with me. Do you want to come over and get it?" Well, I'm cooked. This time, even if I were to jump into the Yellow River, I wouldn't be able to wash away my guilt. To stop her from saying anything else she shouldn't say, I hurriedly dragged her out of the basketball court. She followed behind like a little puppy, strolling along, not saying a single word. I walked ahead, my heart completely dead inside. The laboratory group chat had already exploded. The senior girl was exposing me in the group, accusing me of flexing our couple goals right in front of her face, receiving a highly enthusiastic response from Liu Sheng. Everyone thought I had betrayed the organization to become the first one to escape singlehood. But in reality, I didn't even understand what was going on myself. Just thinking about how Roxy already had a dream boy, my mind became an even bigger mess. Suddenly my wrist tightened. I turned my head back and saw her slender, long fingers, carefully gripping my wrist, softly apologizing. Oppa, I'm sorry, okay? It wasn't that I was mad, I was just a bit overwhelmed. Seeing that I didn't say anything, she timidly tugged at my sleeve and gave it 2 gentle shakes. Is she actually acting cute with me right now? This is literally killing me. With a top-tier beauty acting cute right next to you, who on earth wouldn't lose their mind? But as if possessed by a ghost, I reached out and patted her head, and at that exact moment, both of us froze. And Roxy's face gradually flushed red, her eyes still glistening with a bit of moisture from the recent workout, making her look even more adorable and pathetic. I hurriedly pulled my hand back, but she grabbed it once again. For a brief moment, both of us fell completely silent. Eventually, she let go. I cleared my throat awkwardly. About that puffer jacket, I'll go get it from you tomorrow. Okay. She let out a soft, okay. I made up a terrible random excuse and ducked straight into the nearest library. Although I was already sitting inside the library, my mind still couldn't calm down at all. I opened my profile, intending to scroll through the newsfeed to steady myself. As it turned out, I shouldn't have scrolled at all. As soon as I did, I got a massive fright. Our university's confession wall had just updated a status. Within just 10 minutes, the number of comments had skyrocketed. The content consisted of 2 photos. One was in Roxy acting all cute, tugging at my sleeve while looking so pitiful, and the other was me slightly lifting my hand to pat her soft hair. The status read, help. Accidentally caught the department beauty acting cute so sweet, although it didn't capture my face directly. There would definitely be quite a few people who could recognize me. Sob, I'm about to lose my face completely. With trembling hands, I clicked on the comment section. Seriously, the entire comment section was filled with extremely lively gossip. Oh my god, I've already brain-rotted a whole 100,000-word novel. Right here, hand over the pen to this user. I love this kind of ambiguous vibe so much. This girl is truly adorable. That sleeve tugging, who on earth could handle that? Why does this girl look so much like Roxy? That is the department beauty? Does anyone else understand this insane height and size difference? I'm aggressively shipping this. I'm completely cooked. I won't be able to face her anymore. Just as I was about to log out and play dead, not looking and not replying, I found out that Roxy had liked a comment. They look so well matched. Does this count as the official source giving a confirmation? So what am I supposed to do now? I've completely entered my blind spot of knowledge. I really didn't know. While I was scratching my head and pretending to read my book, the book in my hands was suddenly flipped to the next page by a slender hand. And Roxy, who was supposed to have left, had appeared next to me at some unknown point, leaning close to my ear and whispering softly, Oppa, you're holding the book upside down. The library on that day, even until now, I still don't dare recall the details of how on earth I managed to sit with her and read books for the entire afternoon. Though I say reading books, in reality most of the time I was just stealing glances at her. I had so many questions I wanted to ask, but I didn't dare open my mouth, fearing that the answer I'd receive would leave me disappointed. Liu Sheng was right. Maybe I really am completely down bad. For the next few days, our time spent together in the laboratory could still be considered normal. The only thing was, every time I taught her how to use the equipment, she always stared at me extremely intently, but that gaze of hers was just way too passionate. There was one time I truly couldn't help but ask her, are you always this serious? She propped her chin up with her hand, dazing out a bit upon hearing my question, then smiled. I can be even more serious than this, you know. Why do I constantly feel like I'm the one getting rised up here? Every single morning, my desk would be organized neatly, and next to it would be an extra carton of milk and a piece of candy. Even our advisor playfully teased me. Are you two dating or what? Extremely embarrassed, I hurriedly waved my hand and denied it. Glancing over, I saw Roxy lowering her head, her lips tightly pursed. But after knowing her for a while, I had come to understand that this was her textbook expression of being unhappy. But how am I supposed to comfort her? I honestly have zero riz. The very next day, there was no candy and no milk on the desk anymore. I thought she was still mad at me, but then Liu Sheng suddenly sent me a text message saying that Roxy was on an IV drip at the campus hospital, telling me to get over there immediately. Panicking, I rushed over to the campus hospital, completely out of breath as I pushed the door open, only to find her lying quietly on the hospital bed, her complexion looking extremely pale. The person watching over her was her roommate, who told me that she had acute gastritis last night, struggling the entire night, and had only just managed to catch a bit of sleep. I also felt a pang of pity. When she was asleep, her usual cold aura was completely retracted. Her long eyelashes cast a soft shadow on her face, making her look just like a fragile little animal. I told her roommate to go back and get some rest first, and that I would stay here to take care of her. After that, I just sat there guarding her until she woke up. I didn't know what she was dreaming about, but she was frowning even in her sleep. I was a bit curious. Before my brain could react, my hand had already reached out, gently smoothing out her tightly knitted brows. A warm sensation instantly transferred from my fingertips. I pulled my hand back as if I had been electrocuted. Seeing that she didn't wake up, I became even bolder. From pranking her hair at the start, lightly touching her cheek to, after that, as if possessed by a ghost touching her lips, Right at that exact moment, Roxy opened her eyes. I didn't have time to pull my hand back and was firmly caught by her hand, the one without the IV needle. "What are you doing?" Her voice was a bit hoarse, sounding extremely weak, but her eyes were terrifyingly bright. "I'm checking your temperature." Checking my temperature like this? Then how should it be checked? The strength in her hand suddenly increased sharply. I was forcefully pulled by her, my whole body falling right into her embrace. With one hand, she tightly held my wrist and dragged me down, while her other hand, the one still attached to the IV needle, pressed against the back of my neck, making me kiss her lips with absolute precision. A soft, warm sensation overwhelmed me. My eyes went wide as I looked at her in absolute shock, only to see her eyes deep down filled with laughter. Only after a long while did she release me, leaning close to my ear and whispering, checking it like this is correct. "Do you remember it now, Oppa? The first kiss I preserved for over 20 years just vanished like that." But with the culprit lying on a hospital bed, I couldn't summon any strength to actually be angry. On the contrary, my heart was burning up with a bit of excitement. "Are you very happy?" I hurriedly snapped out of it, not daring to recall the kiss just now. For the sake of my pride, I forced an awkward response. "It's just average." Why would I be very happy? As it turned out, Roxy propped her hand against her forehead, looking way too serious, but I'm very happy, you know. Why isn't this going according to script? She's being this direct. So can an average happy Muya, like you, become my boyfriend? I'll make sure you're happy every single day. I just got confessed to, and it happened so out of nowhere. I panicked a bit, my mouth moving faster than my brain as I blurted out, "But didn't you say before that you already had someone you liked?" And Roxy couldn't help but burst into laughter, even laughing out loud. "The one I like is you. Couldn't you tell? Looks like I'll have to make it a bit more obvious from now on. Otherwise, my boyfriend won't even realize that I like him." As it turned out, that person really was me. I couldn't suppress the overwhelming joy welling up in my eyes. "So you're super happy right now, aren't you?" I couldn't help but smile along, mustering up all my courage to lean close and gently kiss her forehead, answering extremely happy. And Roxy and I were officially together, and all the previous awkwardness completely vanished into thin air. The day she was discharged, she actively took my hand. This feeling was truly magical. The moment our fingers intertwined, it brought a wave of happiness and excitement that I had never experienced before. Dopamine is truly a miraculous thing. When we arrived downstairs at her dorm, I said goodbye and was about to leave when she suddenly pulled me back, showing that exact expression again. The one that always melts my heart. "Are you just leaving like this? Otherwise, what else?" I was a bit dazed. She then pointed toward a couple passionately hugging over there, her expression basically saying, "Look at them. I want that too." My face flushed completely red. I leaned close to her ear and whispered softly, "Actually, I really want to kiss you too, but I'm a bit too shy." And Roxy mimicked my posture, bending down to whisper in my ear, "If you want to kiss me, just kiss me. At most, I'll just be shy for a little bit. It's not that I don't want to." After that, before I could even react, she kissed my lips accurately and decisively. "Look, I'm very bold. My God, you're brave. You're good. You're amazing, all right." As for that guy Liu Sheng, when he found out about this, he almost ascended on the spot, even happier than when he was in a relationship himself. But then another problem arose, which until now I still can't fully understand. When exactly did Roxy start liking me? And based on the analysis of Liu Sheng and me, she must have been plotting against me for a long time. That scam call was just the beginning. Regarding this, I asked her many times, but every single time she would pull a fast one and dodge the question. Over time, I didn't bother to press further anymore. Not until winter break did I finally find out the reason. It turned out that Roxy and I were from the same hometown. Our houses were also quite close to each other. Now, that's what makes it interesting. Who would have thought after studying for so many years, there would be a day I could bring a girlfriend back home? Consider it a completely new experience. The entire way back, I was extremely excited. On the road, we ran into an old uncle selling flowers, and Roxy wanted to stop and buy some, so I reached out my hand to stop her. She asked in surprise, "Don't guys like flowers?" "Don't you like them, Oppa?" I replied a bit dejectedly, "Forget it. I've never been able to keep a single flower alive. Every pot I buy, it dies, afraid." She wouldn't believe me. I added another line. "Maybe I'm just naturally not cut out to raise anything." And Roxy grabbed my hand and even seriously thought about it for a moment. "Then why don't you try raising a person instead? For example, me." "Stop spamming sweet talk, will you? I don't want my face turning red like a monkey's butt out on the street." After the high-speed train arrived at the station, we walked outside while chatting and laughing happily. Just as we let out a sigh of relief, the smile on her face suddenly stiffened. Not far away, a middle-aged man with a very distinguished aura was enthusiastically waving his hand at her. "Roxy over here." And Roxy looked at me, then looked over to the other side, helplessly explaining to me, "My dad is here." What, her dad is already here in that case? Should I slip away first? Fortunately, we aren't holding hands right now, so it shouldn't be too awkward just yet. Just as I was about to quietly retreat, and Roxy seemed to read my mind completely. Without saying a word, she peeled off my glove and stuffed my hand straight into her coat pocket. This series of actions Obviously, the uncle standing across from us saw the whole thing. His eyes were literally filled with pure gossip. I thought to myself, why does this expression look so familiar? It's exactly like my roommates when they're aggressively shipping someone. After her dad walked over, I greeted him a bit timidly, but he was extremely enthusiastic, his eyes shining bright like stars. Oh wow, you must be Muya, right? He knows who I am. I looked over at Roxy curiously. She looked a bit impatient, mixed with a hint of embarrassment, as she called out, Dad, let's get in the car first. Only then did the casual small talk temporarily end. On the way to the car, her dad turned out to be extremely interesting. Completely different from Roxy's cold outside, warm inside personality. He was a total chatterbox. From his mouth, I heard quite a few classic comedy moments from her childhood, making me laugh until tears came out. When we were about to arrive, an idea popped into my head and I asked, Uncle, how did you recognize me at first glance? Sure enough, following the flow of the conversation, he replied right away. She's been talking about you since she was a kid. So how could I possibly not know? Since she was a kid? I felt like I had just uncovered a massive, mind-blowing secret, hurriedly pressing for answers. Why, since childhood, her dad glanced at the two of us, looking quite surprised. Ruoxy hasn't told you yet. She's liked you since she was a kid, you know. You two went to the same school since elementary school. Huh. I really didn't know about this. This time it was my turn to be completely stunned. Are we actually childhood friends? And yet, why do I have absolutely zero memory of it? Curious, I leaned closer about to ask, only to see Roxy turning her back to me, her ears completely flushed red. Having obtained this crucial clue, the moment I got home, I immediately went to the study and rummaged through all my old school group photos over the years. Sure enough, I discovered something extraordinary. Because I am 4 years older than her, we naturally didn't attend middle school and high school at the same time. But as an outstanding alumnus, I had returned to the school multiple times to give speeches. Every time a speech ended, the outstanding student representatives would take a group photo with me. I intently examined those photos and discovered that in the corner of every single picture, Ruoxy's gaze was always directed toward me. She never looked at the camera lens. Her eyes were both passionate and innocent. This discovery left me profoundly shaken. What on earth have I been missing all these years? Unable to wait any longer, I sent her a message, asking her why she had liked me since she was that young. At first, Roxy pretended to play dead, but after being relentlessly pestered by me, she finally gave in and told me the truth. As it turned out, when she was little, because she looked too much like a doll, both fair-skinned and adorable, she was often bullied by her classmates. Back then, I was 4 years older and happened to be walking by, so I casually chased those kids away, and even bought her a piece of candy. No way, right? I have absolutely no recollection of this event. No wonder she always bought candy for me. And it was always the exact flavor I liked best. It turns out from that early on, she had already memorized that piece of candy. I looked at those old photos once again, her innocent silhouette overlapping with the present, slowly unfolding a whole vibrant picture of youth. I yearned to see her immediately, waiting until nightfall. I took a familiar bag of candy and sneaked out of the house, waiting at the intersection where we agreed to meet. And Roxy stood under the streetlight, quietly looking at me, her entire body enveloped in a gentle glow. I stepped on the snow, walking toward her one step at a time. When I arrived right in front of her, she suddenly smiled. I asked her what she was laughing at, and she said she just felt like the star she used to look up to is finally no longer out of reach. She stopped and held my hand. The star is walking toward me now. I couldn't help but let out a smile too, my heart completely filled with warmth. I pulled the pre-prepared piece of candy out of my pocket and carefully brought it to her lips. And Roxy dazed out for a brief moment, and then a smile gradually spread across her face. Was the candy from when we were kids sweeter, or is it sweeter now? She thought about it for a bit, then suddenly tilted her head up to kiss me. The sweetness instantly burst inside my mouth. I think this is the sweetest. Anyway, during her sophomore year, she picked up a philosophy course. Ever since taking that class, this little puppy girl would frequently discuss deep mind-boggling stuff with me, like the famous trolley problem, or Schrodinger's cat and whatnot. Every single time our peaceful discussion would escalate into an absolute debate to the point where we almost wanted to choke each other out. One day, she brought over a book on Genesis and told me, take a look at this. We can discuss this one too. I had absolutely zero interest, not even giving her a single glance. Look at you. Studying physics is already enough to make you go bald. So why do you want to study philosophy to drive yourself insane? She seemed to freeze for a moment, then tossed her tablet to the side and let out a sigh. You're right. A lot of physicists do indeed have certain obsessions. She's getting better and better at acting cute nowadays, no longer showing that cold and quiet demeanor from before. On the contrary, she'd straight up attack out of nowhere at any given moment. Seeing her looking so dead serious like this, I intentionally teased her to comfort her. What's wrong? Are you turning into one of those female CEOs from those trashy, melodramatic web novels? Randomly losing your mind, acting all toxic and dominant, and then forgetting all about me, just to torture me. She snapped out of it and let out a cold laugh. Suddenly, she grabbed my hair and pulled it gently backward, pressing her entire body close to me. Leaning close to my ear, she lowered her voice. That legendary female CEO would probably say something like this right now. I was completely cracked up by this posture. Whatever you want to say it quickly. You're making my neck hurt. Before the words could even completely leave my mouth, she unexpectedly leaned down and kissed me. Along with that slightly aggressive kiss, her voice together with the warm breeze in the room poured straight into my ears. I will fight against my own instincts and go against nature itself to forever love you.